so much passion and they had so much zeal, but when it came to implementation, they failed. As Allah mentioned in the Quran, يَقُولُونَ مَا لَا يَفْعَلُونَ. They would say things that they wouldn't do themselves, وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا لَا يُؤْمَرُونَ. And they would do things that Allah did not even command them to do. So they had the zeal and the passion, himmat to tarak, be elevated and get to their objective. But when it came to tatbiq, implementation, they weren't to be seen on the radar. When it came to the Nasara, these people, they were doing mashallah. They went above and beyond. They went that extra mile in implementing all of that, but they didn't have the knowledge. This is the difference between us and them. So Ibn al-Qayyim says that we are asking for those things, not just one of them, but asking for both of them. Himmatu tarakki, the ability to elevate. At the same time, we have to back that with what? With knowledge. So if we want to be elevated, we can't expect to sit at home and the knowledge comes to us. As Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, when they came to him and they said, well, you claim that 70 muhaddithun in Medina, they said that they gave the stamp of approval. Your Muwatta is the most authentic until Bukhari came. If that is the most authentic, then you come and narrate to us and tell us. Imam Malik, what did he say? He says, Al-ilmu yuta wa la yati. Knowledge is something that is sought. You have to go and get it. Don't think, and this is not arrogance. This is not arrogance. Rather, this is actual tawadu of knowledge. How you uphold knowledge and how you consider knowledge to be something precious, valuable. Imam Malik says, you want that knowledge, but you can't expect it for you to come to you. You have to go out your way and seek that knowledge. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim says, you have those two qualities, you will be able to attain that which you are hoping for. An example of this is a young man from Spain, Andalusia, Baqi ibn Makhlad, rahimahullah ta'ala, one of the key students of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah ta'ala jami'an. Baqi ibn Makhlad, if you read his life, you will come to know he was one of the first people to write a tafsir, and it was known as Tafsir al-Kabir. It was 100 volumes. This is what they said. Some of that they have in the library in Germany. This is what it said. He wrote one of the biggest of tafsir. It became lost. Baqi ibn Makhlad, who passed away after Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. This man was originally from Andalusia in Spain, a Spanish scholar. At the age of 20, he travels from Spain all the way to Imam Ahmad in what part of the world? Iraq, Baghdad. So he goes there to meet Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Why? Because the area he's from, they were deprived of knowledge. They were known for trade and commerce, like Bukhara. Imam Bukhari came and he enlightened Uzbekistan, specifically the town Bukhara. Before that, Bukhara was known as Madinatul Tujjar, the town of trade and commerce. No one knew Bukhara for knowledge. Imam Bukhari came and he gave life to this town, and people knew Bukhara today because of nisbah towards Imam al-Bukhari. He traveled all the way at the age of 20 from Spain all the way to Baghdad, and he didn't have your fast train, he didn't have a plane to go there, but he went by foot. This is a man with himmatul taraqi. This is a man who wanted to be elevated. But he had a greater objective, my dear brothers, and that was for him to come back and spread the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala in the region that he's from. Today, in Andalusia, you see some of that history. But in the past, there were many ulama, Imam Qurtubi, Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, many, and the author of Alidat al-Ahwadi, many of the scholars from that particular region. It started from where? Initially, that fire was ignited by, they say, Baqi ibn Makhlad, rahimahullah ta'ala, this young man who traveled to Baghdad. When he goes to Baghdad to find Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal and take lesson from him, because he was the great muhaddith of that time, he came to know he was under house arrest. If we read the life of Imam Ahmad, we'll come to know there was a mehna, there was a trial of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. He spoke out against the status quo, the whole mas'ala about the Quran not being created. This is a whole different chapter, big bahath. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was under house arrest. He was the only man at that time who spoke out against all of the challenges there. His own colleagues, like Yahya ibn Ma'in, who he spent 60 years with studying the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala, they weren't on the same page when it came to this mas'ala. And those brothers who know Yahya ibn Ma'in, and if you studied hadith, you will know, he was known as Imam al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, and he was a person who specialized in Asma wa Rijal, Ilal. These are all فيما يتعلق بالحديث, is connected to the chapter of hadith. He was teaching in the place of Imam Ahmad in the main mosque there. So when he went there, he thought this might be Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal looking at the majlis because there's a lot of people, and he sits there, the majlis finishes, and he says that I've come to meet Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And the people recognized him. The reason is the people from Iraq, their facial structure is different, and a person who comes from Spain, naturally, they saw someone from a different region, so they welcomed him. They asked him, why are you here? And he said, well, I came to meet the great muhaddith, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, al-Shaybani, rahimahullah ta'ala. And then they told him he's under house arrest. So he went and he knocked on the door of Imam Ahmad, and then Imam Ahmad, and disguised as a beggar. He disguised him as a beggar. The people told him, this is the only way you'll be able to go. Why? Because of the challenges at that moment, and the political challenges of that moment. So he knocked on the door. Imam Ahmad refused to see him. Why? Because this is not a state to give knowledge. But the man wouldn't give up. And when he said, well, I've come all the way from Andalusia, from knowledge, from Andalus, then Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal had that soft spot. And of course, a man who comes from all the way, you have to give him something. So this is how he started to take narration, one narration daily, two narration daily. And it's mentioned in a book. This book is called Safahat min Sabr al-Ulama'i ala Shada'id al-Ilm wa Tahsil. Sheikh Al-Fattah Abu Ghudda, he wrote a book, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great Syrian Hanafi scholar. He wrote this book of how the scholars went through trial and tribulation to attain knowledge. And he brought this narration, and many other narrations we'll come to know, inshallah. And another book he wrote, قيمة الزمن عند العلماء, the value of time according to the ulama. Any students of knowledge here, these are two books to read, especially if you're seeking knowledge. Once you read these two books, I guarantee you'll book your ticket and you'll go to Egypt to study, inshallah. Why? Because it gives you that aspiration, gives you that zeal and that passion. You look at how difficult or difficulty these ulama experienced. Ibn Abi Hatim al-Razi, one of the great scholars of hadith, especially in Ilal. Ibn Abi Hatim al-Razi, he traveled day and night from province to province, and when it came to eating, they didn't have any food to eat, they would eat leaves. This was their food for them to survive. And subhanAllah, just take a moment and do some comparison how we live an extravagant lifestyle. We live a very flamboyant lifestyle compared to them. And subhanAllah, the amount of excuses that we make, and these ulama that came before us. And this is why today we think about them, we speak about them, and they left a legacy behind. Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great muhaddith, mufakkir, muhaqqib, mufassir, any title you want to give, this is the man who is mustahiq, deserving of this title. But how old was he when he died? How old was Imam al-Nawawi? He was born 631 Hijri. How old was he when he died? Anyone know him? 42. The ulama can't guess. 44 years, just over 44 years. The scholars, they say, مَا عَاشَ إِلَّا 45 سَنَةً, that he lived only for 45 years. But look at his legacy today. That we look at our bookshelves and we find Riyadh al-Salihin, a book that has authentic narrations in it. Al-Kathratu Kathiratu Minha Sahih, that the vast majority is Sahih. There are some weak narrations. But the book became so maqbool that it is more printed than Bukhari. Riyadh al-Salihin. And is there a doubt regarding Bukhari? All of us agree the most authentic Kitab Bashari, the book that has been compiled by a man on the face of this earth is Bukhari. Bukhari Sahih, the authentic connection. But Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, you ask the question, and it really begs the question, well, why did his book become ma'ruf, mashhur, maqbool? Why? Because husnul niyyah, his commitment, his sincerity, and proof of that is today any masjid you go to, what do we do? If we want to sit down and read about fada'il, some virtue, or some akhlaq, some manners, anything, we open Riyadh al-Salihin. Easy on the tongue for the people. Someone who's not an alim, someone just a normal person opens Riyadh al-Salihin. He became accepted. Why? Let us look at his life. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala كان يأكل في اليوم مرة واحدة ولا يأكل خلال اليوم إلا مرة هذه فقط. They said he would only eat once during the day. He would not eat another time, just once a day. وإذا مات لم يتزوج, and until he passed away, he did not even marry. ونشأ على هذا النمط. And this is how Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala he grew up. كان عنده 12 درس مع 12 مشايخ كل يوم. They said that he had 12 classes throughout the day for 12 hours. This was his situation, Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah. This is a man who's studying, and his aada was that he would sleep only 2 hours during the night. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, if you read his manaqib, his life, you will come to know this is a mashhur incident from his life. He would only sleep 2 hours from the night. Some of the mutaakhirin, those who came after him, they wrote about him. Khasatan Sheikh Zakaria al-Ansari wrote about him. And then they said, Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, one day he slept an extra hour. And then this wasn't in his comfortable bed. Why? Because they were people, when Allah says in the Quran, تَتَجَافَ جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ, the people that leave the comfort of their beds, these were the awliya Allah. These were the salihun. These were the real people. By day, they were busy with the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala, writing, compiling books. And when the sun came down, they were busy worshipping Allah Jalla wa Ala. Imam Abu Hanifa, كان يصلي الفجر بوضوء عشاء. This is a mashhur statement. He would pray Fajr with the wudu of Isha. What does that mean? That he was busy in Qiyam. And when the sun rose, he was busy compiling the books, writing or giving answers, istikhraj mas'ala, extracting rulings, istinbat mas'ala, implementing rulings. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, he slept on top of his book that extra hour. When he woke up, he says, Inna lillahi laqad ada'na zamanan tawila. He says, Inna lillahi. When do we say this? When we hear someone who has passed away. And those mashayikh who understand Arabic, you will know if he said, لَقَدْ أَضَعْتُ, no problem, grammatically there is no problem because he's speaking about himself. But he says, لَقَدْ أَضَعْنَا. In the process of this, he's half asleep and he wakes up, he still remembers the ummah. He says, لَقَدْ أَضَعْنَا زَمَانًا طَوِيلًا. Any person who spends more time than it is required sleeping and wasting in joy and rejoicement, then you have wasted a huge portion of your life. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah is speaking about how many hours? 1 hour. We wait for the weekend to do the full 12 hours, right? We look forward to the weekend so we can get that extra sleep. These people, they had a mission, they had a goal, they had objectives, and this is why today they became maqbool, they became people accepted, they became people, as the ulama say, musharun ilayhi, or musharun ilayhim, that today when we speak about the deen, who do we have to refer to? Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad, Awza'i, Thawri, all of them we have to point our fingers to. Why? It didn't come with ease. It came with shiddatul rughba lil ilm, extreme passion for knowledge and to attain knowledge and love for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, this was his aada. He slept minimum, and we don't encourage that. Why? Because the NHS says that you need to sleep minimum 7 hours for your mind to be functioning accordingly and appropriately, so you don't become stressed and you don't take it all out on your wife and your children. This life that we live in, this plural society and this busy life that we have, it is decent. من باب الإنصاف يعني توازن is to sleep at least 6 to 7 hours. But they were people from different time and different region with different mindset, but they were role models for us, no doubt, that these people became accepted. Why? Because they had that passion and zeal. And how they became maqbool. Allah Jalla wa Ala chooses the people that He wants to make them maqbool through the knowledge. An example of that is Bukhari. Imam al-Bukhari's contribution is يعني لا مثيل له. There is no parable. Who was the first person to do the commentary of Bukhari? Ibn Hajar. He did the most comprehensive commentary of Bukhari. We all agree, there is no doubt regarding that, even though the Hanafi ulama disagree, because you have Umdatul Qari by Badruddin Aini, which is also a very, very good book. Very good book on the commentary of Sahih Bukhari. But the first person they say to begin the commentary was Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, and he called it after Ibn Rajab, and then just out of honor and respect he kept name. He didn't plagiarize the name and take Fathul Bari, but out of respect just to keep that alive. How many of us know Fathul Bari to belong to Ibn Rajab? No one knows. Rarely, unless you study deeply. As when I say Fathul Bari, those brothers here who study hadith, you will know Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. But it is not attributed to Ibn Rajab, even though he was the first person to initiate this idea, and he went all the way to Kitab al-Banais, all the way to the chapter of funeral prayer. Hafiz Ibn Hajar, he came and he compiled it. Today, you want to understand Bukhari, you have to read Umdatul Qari, you have to read Tuhfatul Bari, you have to read Fathul Bari, all of those books. Look whose one became maqbool. Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. Allah Jalla wa Ala chooses who He wants to accept. Why? Because of their commitment, sincerity, dedication, so on and so forth. This is ilmun nafi, beneficial knowledge. One of the signs that a person has attained beneficial knowledge is that Allah preserves that legacy. And Allah Allah Jalla wa Ala, through His knowledge, there is barakah and change in the society. Today we have many lectures, many programs, many da'wah taking place, and sometimes it was the question, well, why isn't there change? And many of the ulama, they said, well, perhaps the people that are speaking, perhaps the people that are spreading the knowledge, maybe they're not sincere. Maybe that the message that is being conveyed, this is just one opinion I'm mentioning, and a sign of change happening in society through knowledge, so on and so forth, is sincerity and ilmun nafi that is being spread. And this is why our beloved Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he would ask Allah Jalla wa Ala, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'ah, O Allah Jalla wa Ala, grant me beneficial knowledge. He didn't ask for normal knowledge, because normal knowledge has no benefit. And I'll give you an example of that. Becoming a doctor is something that the Muslim Ummah needs, no doubt. A doctor who spends 10, 15 or even 20 years of his life or her life educating themselves, experiencing the practical work, and then becoming a proficient doctor, what happens? When they die, are they replaced or not replaced? Replaced by someone who might be even better than them. That doctor is forgotten unless they discover some new medicine or treatment, so on and so forth. What about a CEO of a company? Is he or she replaced? Easily replaced. Why? Because the knowledge that they have, it is knowledge dunyawiyya, knowledge of the life of this world. Yes, there is some benefit in it, but the ilmun nafi', the beneficial knowledge, is dunyawiyya wa ukhrawiyya, the life of this world and the hereafter, to help you get to the other side. So a CEO is forgotten, a doctor is forgotten, but Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah, the Riyadh al-Salihin he wrote, is not forgotten. Imam al-Nawawi, he is not replaceable. Today we say him, we have to mention him on our tongue when we speak about hadith. Imam Abu Hanifa about fiqh, Imam Shafi about fiqh, all of these scholars, they are not replaceable. Why? Because a sign of ilmun nafi' is they leave the legacy behind and people benefit generation after generation after generation. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam would ask Allah Jalla wa Ala, Allahumma inni as'aluka, and Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a, amin ya rabbal alameen, that oh Allah, grant us beneficial knowledge, knowledge that will change me and give me the tawfiq to change the society that is around me. As we mentioned, it is Allah Jalla wa Ala, it is Allah Jalla wa Ala that chooses who He wants to give that knowledge to. The famous hadith in Bukhari, مَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ, whom Allah Jalla wa Ala loves, and a sign that Allah loves that person and Allah wants khair for that person, Allah gives them understanding of the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala. A man will try his utmost to attain knowledge, and he might exhaust 50, 60 years of his life and he will not be able to attain knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is actually a light that is put in the heart of the believers. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he says, ليس العلم بكثرة الرواية ولا بكثرة المقال ولكنه نور يقذف في القلب. Imam Ibn Rajab, he says, don't think knowledge is that you've memorized some books and you can open the book and you can read the mutun and you've memorized some Quran. This is not real knowledge. وَلَكِنَّهُ نُورٌ. It is actually a light that Allah places in the hearts of those who He loves and those who He wants. This is what real knowledge is. Because this is how they found knowledge. It wasn't just reading books and books, because many people you will see, they go abroad and they study 10, 15, 20 years, or many people study here. They are not benefiting themselves and they're not benefiting society, but rather many of them have become detriment to society. Where this poor miskin who might know a few words, but because Allah has accepted him, he or she is doing much more khair in the community. Why? Because Allah Jalla wa Ala loves that person. Allah wants khair for that person. So that nur, we're asking Allah Jalla wa Ala, oh Allah, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a. We ask Allah for that. Don't think that we, without the intervention of Allah, will be able to get that. Like we said, himmatu taraki, having that aspiration, at the same time asking Allah Jalla wa Ala for that knowledge. Hafidh ibn Hajar explaining this hadith, he says in his Fathul Bari, وَبِالْعَكْسِ, on the contrary, أَنَّ مَنْ لَمْ يَتَفَقَّهْ فِي الدِّينِ أي يتعلم قواعد الإسلام وما يتصل بها من الفروع فقد حرم الخير. Hafidh ibn Hajar, he says, you see the way Allah Jalla wa Ala says, the one who He loves, He gives them knowledge. On the contrary, the one whom أَنَّ مَنْ لَمْ يَتَفَقَّهْ فِي الدِّينِ, the one whom Allah doesn't give any tafaqquh, understanding of the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and all of those disciplines related to the deen, such as fiqh, they don't understand fiqh, they don't understand tafsir. They open Riyadh al-Salihin and they read one hadith They close it and they take their phone out and they spend half an hour on WhatsApp. That seems to be more fruitful and more tasty and more enjoyable than reading the hadith. You need to ask Allah Jalla wa Ala immediately for His intervention, because that is not a good sign. That you open the book of Allah and you spend 2 minutes and you don't find much interest. But when you open your phone, you can spend hours and hours and hours browsing from one side to another side to another side, and then you become lost yourself. That is the state with many of us. We ask Allah Jalla wa Ala for that mood within us, so we love the deen. Imam Ibn Hajar, he says, أَنَّ مَنْ لَمْ يَتَفَقَّهْ فِي الدِّينِ. If you don't find that pleasure in seeking knowledge, فَقَدْ حُرِمَ الْخَيْرِ, then Allah Jalla wa Ala in reality has deprived you from all of the khayr. So you need to ask Allah immediately, oh Allah, grant me knowledge, because there is something going on. I'm losing connection with you. There is a barrier between the Khaliq and the Makhluk, the creator and the creation. And this is why Rasulullah continuously made that dua for knowledge. My dear brothers, the ulama that came before us, they were the great example for us. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and when we say Shiddat al-Rubba lil-ilm, how they went to extreme lengths for knowledge. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he's on a journey with his friend Yahya ibn Ma'in, the muhaddith we spoke about. And they're both from Iraq, Baghdad, that region. Yahya ibn Ma'in, he spent 60 years with Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and he says, Wallahi ma ra'aytu mithlahu. I have not seen a man who is like him. How many of our friends would say that about us? Would our wife even say that to us? Yahya ibn Ma'in, he says, Ma ra'aytu mithlahu. I have not even seen a man like Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. His adab, his akhlaq, his suluk, his deen, all of that was on a different level. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. They're both going to Yemen to meet the great muhaddith of that time, Sheikh al-Bukhari, Abdul Razzaq al-San'ani. Abdul Razzaq al-San'ani, who wrote a book, the Musannaf Abdul Razzaq, a great book on hadith. He was the great scholar of Yemen at that time. People used to go to Yemen. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who's the great muhaddith, going to Abdul Razzaq, I mean, this tells us who Abdul Razzaq is. Just from knowing Ahmad ibn Hanbal is going to him. For a few narrations, he needed clarification, so he goes to Yemen to come back to Baghdad. The scholars look at their diligence, transparency and honesty. Just to clarify a mas'ala or a hadith, there might be some ilal in the hadith, and ilal means there is a problem with the matan or the sanad, a very minute problem. Not a lot of people know about this. It was only a handful of scholars like Bukhari, Daraqutni, Abu Zur'at al-Razi, they knew about ilal. Ahmad ibn Hanbal goes all the way to Yemen, and by foot they said it is 2 months to walk to Yemen, Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. And well, the Haram, Baytullah is in the middle between Baghdad and Yemen. So they thought Yahya ibn Ma'in and these people were aliman, zahidan, sawaman, qawaman. They were people who were eager for knowledge, but at the same time they were people who were pious, awliya Allah. They were people who were devoted. So they stopped by, pit stop, for that energy, that boost, spiritual boost. They stopped in the house of Allah. While they're doing tawaf, Yahya ibn Ma'in sees Abdul Razzaq al-San'ani doing tawaf. And he says, bingo. Now, we can save ourselves a month journey and we don't need to go to Sana'a. We'll take the hadith from him. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, look at his discipline, his adab. He says, the Shaykh has come here from Yemen to worship, to do his umrah, to do his tawaf. This is not the place to take knowledge from him. We intended from Baghdad to go to Sana'a to take knowledge from him, and we're going to stick to that principle. Another month, he's eager to go and walk there, because he knows every step that he is laying on the floor, it is in return a reward for him. Man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman sahala Allah lahu tariqan ila al-jannah. You are treading on a path of knowledge. In reality, that path is taking you towards the Jannah. So he meets Abdul Razzaq al-San'ani, and they don't even speak to him. They let him go to Sana'a. They go over there and they take the knowledge from him and they come back. This is how they sought knowledge. This is how they took knowledge. And this is why today we speak about who? Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Yahya ibn Ma'in, all of those great, Abu Hanifa, Shafi, Malik. Today you cannot bypass their name, Sheikh Qadi Luthfur Rahman, Hafidahullah, and our Sheikh Imam Darul. You will know that they've gone out of their way to go and study. And this is why they're coming back and giving back to the community. Some of us, Allah gave us the tawfiq. We had to sacrifice a life where many of, and let's be very clear, many of the brothers that grew up with us, they did very well. They did business and all that. But some of us, we had to put a stop to that and go out of our way. Why? Because who will take these mimbars and who will take these responsibilities? We complain about there is no change in society, problems and vice and immorality and decency. Well, if you're not going to go out of your way and go and bring something back to your hometown and bring some change, stop complaining. These ulama, they went out of their way and they came with that knowledge. Ahmad ibn Hanbal today, he is musharun ilayhi. We have to point our finger towards him when we speak about knowledge. They weren't rich. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, there was something called liqat during that time. It was when they didn't even have food. When the people, they harvested the rice and they brought it home. Those brothers who are from the subcontinent, you will know that they bring the rice and it goes through a process when the rice is extracted from its cover, because you can't eat it with its covering. So what Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal and his family members, they used to do is when the rice was extracted and the things that were left over, they used to take that and sell it so people could feed their animals with it. This is how poor and destitute these ulama were, but their hearts were rich. They were loved by Allah Jalla wa Ala, and they loved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How eager they were for knowledge, and this is why they became accepted. Imam Abu Hanifa was an exception, and Imam Bukhari was an exception. They were rich. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Haytham, he wrote a book on the life, and this is a Shafi praising Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. And he wrote his life, and he said Imam Abu Hanifa, when he passed away, he inherited 200,000 silver dirham. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. What did he do with the money? He didn't go to holiday to Barbados every other week. Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he gave the vast majority of his wealth away, and he kept 4,000 silver coins for himself. What did he do with that money? One narration tells us Sufyan al-Thawri was very, very, very poor. Sufyan al-Thawri was given money by Imam Abu Hanifa to continue his study. Imam Abu Hanifa supported the people. These people were rich, but look at how they used and utilized their money. They weren't thinking about themselves, but they were thinking about the generation yet to come, the generation yet to come. And this is how they invested in the people around that time. And today we are speaking and thinking about these ulama that came before us. Many people, they have knowledge, but they're not remembered, as we said. There are many people who have knowledge, but they don't have knowledge. Imam Ghazali, Abu Hamid Ghazali, he refers to them as mutarassimun. They are formalists. They have the formula in their head. For example, a maths teacher, you're a good maths teacher when you've memorized all the formula, and you can put it on the board and explain it to your children, their students, sorry. But you're not a good maths teacher if you have all the formula in your head and you can't put it on the board and explain it to the students. Imam Ghazali, he says, they have knowledge, but because they're not implementing it and there is no change in society, they're just like formalists, mutarassimun, people with just formula. So to be able to ensure that I'm changing myself and the society that is around me, I have to ensure that I'm striving to the best of my ability. We spoke about Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Anyone know who his son-in-law was? Who was the son-in-law of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu? He was Sayyid al-Tabi'i min Ahl al-Madinah, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib. He was the son-in-law of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Man will only give his daughter away to someone who is worthy of taking the hand of his daughter. Another muhaddith on his own right, who was rather the leader of the Tabi'in. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib, he says about himself, كنت أرحل الأيام والليالي لطلب الحديث الواحد. That I used to travel night and day from province to province for one narration of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is their zawq and shawq for knowledge. This was their commitment for knowledge, and this is why today Allah Jalla wa Ala has preserved their name, and today they are benefiting people that came after them. Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he says in his statement, one of the profound statements from Imam al-Shafi'i, and the interesting thing about Imam al-Shafi'i is that when he was growing up and he was nurtured by his mother, he didn't have a father and he was very poor. So he came back to Makkah, and even though he grew up in Palestine, he came back to Makkah and he spent time with the people of Huzayl. And Huzayl are the people who, mashallah, if you know Arabic language, Nahu and Sarf, they used to memorize all the mutun, like al-fi'l al-mudari yakunu mansuban idha sabaqathu adat nasb, the way they taught us in Azhar, like military style. You have to memorize the whole book. Forget about understanding, you memorize the mutun first, then tatbiq and mafhum later on. Imam al-Shafi'i, every time he wrote something, the amazing thing is, you'll know he's very well equipped with Arabic. Everything seems to be rhyming. Every time he mentions something, the vast majority, if you read his material, you'll come to know there's always a rhyme or natural flow in his wording. So Imam Shafi, addressing the students of knowledge, he says, "Akhi, lan tanalu al-ilma illa bi sittatin." My dear brother, don't think you will be able to attain knowledge without 6 things. He could have said, "Lan tanalu al-ilma," but he says, "Lan tanalu." Why? Because without these 6 things, you're not going anywhere. What are those things? ذكاء وحرص واجتهاد وبلغة وصحبة أستاذ. He says, first and foremost, you've got to be smart. And smart means ترتيب الأولوية. You have to get your priorities right. Priorities right mean you have to make that time to seek knowledge. And if you can't go abroad, life happens, you get married, and you are occupied with a lot of things. Can we not find an hour or two to learn the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If we really try without making excuses, it is possible. This is a quality of a person who is smart. وَحِرْصٌ, a person who has passion, a person who has eagerness. وَاجْتِهَادٌ, absolute determination and contentment. وَبُلْغَةٌ وَصُحْبَةُ أُسْتَاذٍ. And he says, final one, very important, my dear brothers, in every masjid I go to, I always say to the young brothers, knowledge is learned through ustaz, through teachers. You don't open Bukhari yourself, no problem, you can read it, no one can stop you. You read Bukhari, no problem. But you will come to find there is so much ta'arud between certain narrations. One hadith says do this, one hadith says don't do that. What do? So this is why you have to sit at the footstep of ulama who took knowledge from ulama, who took from knowledge from ulama. And this is how our deen is preserved. Al-ilmu bil-talaqi. Knowledge is taken from one person to one person to one person to one person. Man kana shaykhuhu Google فَخَطَأُهُ أَكْثَرُ مِنْ صَوَابِهِ. The person whose shaykh is Google, then his mistakes will be greater than the correction, right? Now this isn't the statement. Man kana shaykhuhu kitabahu. The person whose shaykh becomes his own book, then you will find that they make more mistakes than what is correct. You open Bukhari and mashallah, all of a sudden you become a shaykh yourself, and then you open the bab and you find, well, باب ما جاء في النهي عن البول قائما, and you read, well, it's the chapter of not urinating while standing up. You come to this hadith, for example, I'm just giving an example. And then, okay, well there it says, باب ما جاء في رخصة في ذلك. Well, there's another chapter that says you're allowed to stand up and urinate. You don't know, well, what do you do now? You're in a very difficult situation. One hadith is authentic, one hadith is not authentic, one hadith might not be accepted. You have to study properly at the footsteps of the ulama, and you will find scholars who spent years and years and years, and they will tell you, never felt like we haven't even studied. But yet, some of us, we just read a few narrators and go on Google, and mashallah, now all of a sudden, you look at the clothing and you think, subhanallah, what a big chef. And if you don't call them chef, they become upset. But these ulama, subhanallah, Imam Nawawi, Imam, all of these scholars, and I tell you a story of Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. We know his teacher, and he was mostly أثره تأثيرا شديدا. The person who affected him more was Hafid ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. He says one day, Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, أتناول شيء مباح. One day I was doing something that is mubah. What is mubah? ما لا يتعلق بفعله ضم. It's something that you do, no one can criticize you or no one can praise you. This is mubah. And he says, فَرَآنِي شَيْخُ الْإِسْلَامِ. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah saw me doing this thing. Then he says to him, إِنَّ هَذَا يَصُدُّ عَنْ مَرَاتِبِ الْعَالِيَةِ. This is what is holding you back from attaining a lofty status. Look at the statement. Now this is how they were. These others that came before us, and their passion for knowledge, and how they took knowledge from one another. When they spoke about another alim, they spoke highly of that alim, something that we don't see in day to day. But today we are my group, my way, my movement, my understanding, and the few books that I have read, and this is my deen and my understanding. Islam is much more broad than that, my dear brothers. And the ulama, when you read their life, you will see the ihtiram between them. Inshallah, I think my time is coming to an end. And I don't want to take too much time. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when he was giving the Khilafah away to Umar ibn Khattab, he stood on the pulpit and he said, not looking at Umar ibn Khattab because he doesn't want to upset this man, he looks the other way and he says, this ummah, they need people of fa'al. Fa'al is an extreme verb of fa'al. He says, people of good action, commitment. This ummah has too many people who are qawwal, people who speak too much. We need people of fa'al action. And inshallah, I just want one more statement, inshallah, before we finish. And this is really just to showcase how the scholars, until their last breath, they sought knowledge and they seek knowledge. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he was asked, إِلَى مَتَى يَا أَحْمَدُ. Until when would you seek this knowledge? They saw him at the age of 70. One hand he's holding his stick, the other hand he had his pen. And they said, well, when are you going to stop? And then he said, from my birth till my last moment. And an example of that is the student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala, Qadi al-Qudat, Qadi Abi Yusuf rahimahullah ta'ala, the scholars who in the Hanafi madhab, they were known as Muftabihi. When Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani, Qadi Abi Yusuf, they said something, this was considered to be the next strong opinion in the madhab. So Qadi Abi Yusuf on his deathbed, he's on his deathbed, visited by his student. He's on his deathbed in his last moments, and he's having a discussion about a fiqhi mas'ala. قال تلميذه, his student Ibn Jarrah, Qadi Ibn Jarrah al-Kufi al-Masri, he says, مرض أبي يوسف فآتيته أعوده فوجدته مغميا عليه. That I came to Qadi Abi Yusuf and I found him in a state of unconsciousness. He's already passing away, and a person who is in that state, you can imagine the difficulty that they're going through. فَلَمَّا أَفَاقَ قَالَ لِي, when he attained consciousness, he said to me, and he wakes up and he says to me, يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ مَا تَقُولُ فِي مَسْأَلَةٍ. Oh Ibrahim, what do you say regarding this mas'ala? Ibn Jarrah, he says, قُلْتُ فِي مِثْلِ هَذِهِ الْحَالَةِ. He says, Ya Sheikh, you're passing away and you're asking me a mas'ala in this state. قال لي يا إبراهيم, he says to me, Ya Ibrahim, وَلَا بَأْسْ بِذَلِكَ, there is no harm with that. نَدْرُسُ لَعَلَّهُ يَنْجُو بِهِ. Perhaps this could be our means of attaining salvation. He's on his last moment and he's not thinking about his son, his daughter, well, the £10,000 I've left in the HSBC account and my checks and my property that I have abroad and all of that. None of that. He's saying, نَدْرُسُ لَعَلَّهُ يَنْجُو بِهِ. Perhaps let's study this mas'ala. And he says, ثم قال يا إبراهيم أيما أفضل في رمي الجمار أن يرميها ماشيا أو راكبا. This is a mas'ala about Hajj. He says, Ya Ibrahim, what is your opinion regarding a man who is stoning the jamarat? If you've been to Hajj, you know you stone the jamarat, and it is sunnah to either walk or go on an animal, but you don't have the animal facility now. But this was a practice. You stone and you make dua. You stone and you make dua. This is mustahab. He says, what is your opinion regarding a man and yarmiyaha mashiyan aw raqiban? Is it better to stone the shaitan walking or on an animal? قلت راكبا, he said, and the subnote, the hamisha, the hashia says, he gave the answer quick. Why? Because is this a conversation we should really be having at the moment? He's in a state of distress, let's get it over and done with. He said, rakiban the sheikh. He says, okay, or on an animal. He says, akhtarta, you made a mistake. Well, if it's not option 1, then it must be option 2. If someone gives you 2 options and you choose number 1, if you're wrong, it must be number 2. Well, he says, if it's not rakiban, then it must be rajilan, mashiyan, it might be on foot. He says, akhtarta. He said, you make a mistake, you made a mistake. Then he says to him, Ibn Jarrah says to him, قُلْ فِيهَا يَرْضَ اللَّهُ عَنْكَ. Well, in that case, you tell me then, may Allah be pleased with you. And then he says, قَالَ أَمَّا مَنْ كَانَ يُقَفُ عِنْدَهُ لِلدُّعَاءِ فَالْأَفْضَلُ أَنْ يَرْمِيَهُ مَاشِيًا. The one who intends to stop at the jamarat, stone, make dua, is better for him or her to walk and do it. Why? If you're on top of an animal and you throw and you let go of the horse, what's going to happen? You're going to fall down. وَأَمَّا مَنْ كَانَ لَا يُقَفُ عِنْدَهُ فَالْأَفْضَلُ أَنْ يَرْمِيهِ رَاكِبًا. And the one who doesn't want to make dua, and it's mustahab, which is not lazim, wajib, it's better for them to do it on an animal. ثم قمت من عنده فما بلغت باب داره حتى سمعت الصراخ عليه إذا هو قد مات رحمه الله تعالى. He says, this was the ending, the conversation finished. فما بلغت من باب داره, I did not even reach his door حتى سمعت الصراخ, until I heard the people starting to weep and his last moments that have come. وإذا هو قد مات. And this is the state that Qadi Abi Yusuf rahimahullah ta'ala passed away. This was how the people that came before us, my dear brothers, how they strived for the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala. And this is how today Allah Jalla wa Ala preserved their knowledge, preserved their legacy. May Allah Jalla wa Ala give us the tawfiq, inshallah, after listening to this topic, to go abroad, seek knowledge. The local resources here you have, especially this project here, which I am very closely associated with, and I dearly love, Al-Falaq Project. We'll be doing some fantastic work. Let us support it, continue to support it, especially Qadi Luthfur Rahman, Sheikh Khidr Hussein Rahman, who is, mashallah, very diligent, my dear Sheikh, my dear friend. May Allah Jalla wa Ala give him the tawfiq to carry on with his work. But it's not something that is done individually, but وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. It is done collectively. We work together. We go out there, call other brothers, we help one another financially, physically, to ensure that these halaqa, these gatherings are taking place, these gatherings of dhikr, so we can bring change to ourselves, and let us at least bring change to our children as well. Today we were hoping to see more children. Many of our children, if they've grown 7, 8, 9, 10, inshallah, let us try and bring them as well, because the idea is that yes, I'm praying tahajjud, mashallah, where is my son, where is my daughter? That is the question I need to ask myself. هذا من عند العلم وعند الله صلى الله عليه وسلم محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم وجزاهم الله خير.
Jazakallah, Sheikh, for giving us this inspiring talk on this knowledge in Islam. So now we're going to take some questions from brothers on this topic. So any brothers have any questions, please go ahead.
I would feel much more confident. And I was very, very nervous. Why? Because my Sheikh is not sitting next to me. It's always good to have Sheikh next to me. It gives me a bit more confidence.
You've done, mashallah, very well. Without any Sheikh, you've done, I can imagine. Yes, brothers, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. Sheikh is here, mashallah.
Obviously, one of the key things required for seeking knowledge is memory. And obviously, one of the things that we struggle with nowadays is memory. So what would be your advice on improving our memories?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First and foremost, inshallah, the question is in terms of seeking knowledge, the preservation of the knowledge, or to hold on to the knowledge.
Generally, knowledge, to keep it, to hold it.
To hold on to the knowledge. The answer would be when Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asked him a question. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "Mal mas'ul anha bi'a'lam min as-sa'il." So this is the same I say to Sheikh Khadr, Sheikh Rahman, mashallah, he's afqahu minni, more knowledgeable than me. But I think inshallah we can all benefit from this particular question. That is by ensuring that we refrain from sin. This is one of the first things that the scholars, they always mention, and we know from the story of Shafi and Waqi ibn Jarrah, when they met together and he gave him some nasiha to abstain from sin. Even when it comes to the smallest of sin, why? They said that even the smallest of sin, once you continue to do that, it can turn into a mountain. I forgot the statement. And eventually what happens is that takes you over to the point that now all of that you have memorized is replaced with what? The sin and all of those bad thoughts that are taking place in your head. So while we're seeking knowledge, and yes, we make mistakes and we might fall into immorality and indecency, but at the same time, while we're developing ourselves, that development should at the same time help us eradicate some of the bad habits. And this is what the scholars, they did while they were developing. And as we spoke about Imam Abu Hanifa, when the sun came down, what was he doing? Standing, surrendering before Allah Jalla wa Ala, that connection with Allah. During the day, what was he doing? Busy with the knowledge. So we have to keep that ibadah. Qiyamul Layl, Tahajjud, Monday, Thursday fast for student of knowledge. This is mandatory. The scholars, they used to say these are things that were اجعلوا النوافل كالفرائض والمعاصي كالكفر. Make your nafil like your fard and make a small sin like your kufr for the student of knowledge. The moment you have that concept within you, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, Allah ta'ala, Allah.
If there's any other question, yeah, go ahead.
So you said, so you need a willpower to start on your journey towards knowledge. But then there's also the fact that even though you have willpower, to take the first step is always the hardest part of gaining knowledge. What would your advice be to take that? What would be the best way to take that first step?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First step, I think, as the scholars, they said, you see, students of knowledge, they have something known as mu'awwiqat. Mu'awwiqat is obstacles when it comes to seeking knowledge. The key obstacle when it comes to seeking knowledge, and the scholars, they say, is a quality known as tasweef. Tasweef is a person who loves to say sawfa af'al, sawfa usalli, sawfa aqum. It means, it's a word in Arabic in the future tense, I will pray, I will do this, I will study. This procrastination is a huge disease that most of us suffer from, this procrastination. We have to overcome that. We have made the commitment there and then, we have to bring that change. The moment I delay things and when I say, inshallah, I'm going to Egypt next year, how many years have gone past that we haven't even done anything? So that commitment, in fiqh terms, when we say niyyah, in fiqh, niyyah means when you make irada, intention. is known as qasdan mu'akkadan. It is not just niyyah that you say with your mouth, nawaitu an usalli. It's not just mere that. It is absolute determination that right now, right here, I'm going to bring a change to my life. Why? Because 9 to 5 I've been working the last 5 years and I haven't got anyways the same cycle that I'm doing. I want something different in my life, and today I'm going to give that resignation, and then inshallah Allah will give me rizq and barakah. Let me go and seek knowledge. It's that willpower. At the same time, making dua to Allah Jalla wa Ala to open it for you. You can try your best without the intervention of Allah Jalla wa Ala. You'll fail.
Any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
So what kind of respect do they have towards knowledge? I mean, as you see in the Indian subcontinent, doctors, they have respect of not touching their books on the floor, but in Saudi or something, where the ulama or even students they like put their books on the floor, or even like just in general, like what can you say about that?
Knowledge, no doubt, as we mentioned, brothers, is something valuable and sacred. It's something of qima, something of value. And the more you treat it as something that is qayyim, something that is precious, that thing will treat you as precious. Yes, I absolutely agree. Those of us, like Sheikh Rahman, Sheikh Luthfur, we were in part of Africa, precisely, or Middle East, that particular region. Yes, there is negligence when it comes to this. When it comes to adab fi hamlat al-ilm, showing respect and honor and sharaf when it comes to knowledge. It's not easy for us to say it's absolutely haram. We won't take that route. But it is khilaf adab. It goes against adab. The more you showcase love and honor towards that very knowledge. Why? Because it is not my knowledge. It is knowledge given to me by who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The book of Allah, it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to Allah. The statements of Rasul is not my statements, it's the profound statements of my beloved Rasul. The moment I have that concept, I don't put it on the floor. And the more you respect it, then the knowledge will respect you. And it will be easier for you to attain. Allah ta'ala.
Yes. So if you would like to contribute towards the noble activities of Al-Falaq Dawah Project, this event takes place the first Sunday of each month in different venues. So the event is privileged by many learned, qualified scholars. Alhamdulillah. So, I'll pass on the mic.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to be thankful to our respected and beloved Sheikh Khidr Hussein for actually taking this trouble to come here and deliver this very informative speech. He comes from Luton. Allah bless him and grant him all the goodness. We are also thankful to all the brothers and sisters who put immense efforts to come and join us here at this time of the day, on behalf of Al-Falaq Dawah Project and also on behalf of RAW Muslim Community Centre here in East London. I just wanted to add one more thing with the Sheikh here. Another statement from Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, which I actually experienced myself, and so therefore I would like to mention this. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, تَغَرَّبْ عَنِ الْأَوْطَانِ فِي طَلَبِ الْعُلَى. That go away and be a stranger, go away from your homeland to seek knowledge, in order to seek knowledge. وَسَافِرْ فَفِي الْأَسْفَارِ خَمْسُ فَوَائِدِ. And then said, go and travel, because in traveling for knowledge you'll find 5 benefits. Number 1 is تَفَرُّجُ هَمٍّ, releasing the tension. So when you go and travel, of course you change the environment, you feel better, which I always felt better when I used to go back to Egypt and other parts of the world. تَفَرُّجُ هَمٍّ, and then so وَاكْتِسَابُ مَعِيشَةٍ. Also when you go to seek knowledge, you also seek sustenance. وَاكْتِسَابُ مَعِيشَةٍ, earning, which also we experienced and we did practically. We actually set up a business while I was in Egypt. وَاكْتِسَابُ مَعِيشَةٍ وَعِلْمٌ. And then he said, of course you'll find knowledge. وَآدَابٌ, and you'll learn the manners and etiquettes. وَآدَابٌ وَصُحْبَةُ مَاجِدٍ, and you'll find fine and high companionship. You'll meet people that you never met in your own place. And really, I met certain people in seeking knowledge that you can never find in your own locality. So Imam Shafi'i was right when he said, تَفَرُّجُ هَمٍّ وَاكْتِسَابُ مَعِيشَةٍ وَعِلْمٌ وَآدَابٌ وَصُحْبَةُ مَاجِدٍ. Inshallah, with this word, would conclude tonight's monthly event organized by Al-Falaq Dawah Project. We are very happy to have Sheikh Khidr and also my beloved brother Khidr Hussein He's a very well-known face in media and community. May Allah bless him. He's here with us as well. And also Imam Asad, he gave us time and he's been with us all the way through. May Allah bless you, Imam Asad, and all others. Barakallahu fikum, inshallah. The food will be provided and you'll enjoy your food before you leave. Please do attend our events, mostly on first Sundays of each month, as Brother Shuaib, the host, mentioned. And also, if you'd like to contribute towards this project, inshallah, the box is there. You feel free to donate generously towards this project. Jazakumullah khairan. Sheikh, make that.
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما يا ذا الأمر الرشيد والحبل الشديد نسألك الأمن يوم الوعيد والجنة دار الخلود مع المقربين الشهود والركع السجود اللهم إنا نسألك إيمانا كاملا ويقينا صادقا ورزقا حلالا طيبا وتوبة قبل الموت وراحة عند الموت والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار اللهم أصلح أحوال المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم أصلح أحوال المسلمين في كل أنحاء العالم اللهم احفظنا بحفظك الذي تحفظ به عبادك الصالحين بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
There are some refreshments available now by Al-Falaq Dawah Project. Please join us.